Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a makeup tutorial on this look. This is my kind of Mariah Carey inspired makeup video, purely because I'm using all the products that I got from the Mariah Carey collection, bar the blushes, because they just didn't show up. So I just improvised and used another blush which was very similar to the one from the collection. I have got a cold, which is why I sound dreadful. I am actually on my way out now. I'm wearing a Bordeaux velvet black top. Is it just me, or does anyone find these really annoying that whenever you move your arms, they move upwards? It's so, like, irritating. And these are gifts from my little pals, Roma, Nisha, Maya, and Kav. Matching. This was for my birthday. This was for Christmas. Thank you, girls. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the video. Bye.
Hello everybody, so first I'm going to be priming my eyes with the Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Enigma, which is an amazing neutral matte shade. This will keep your eyeshadow in place all day and stop it from creasing. Then I'm using Radiance Bronze Face Primer by Mercier. This has got a hint of colour to it. As you can see, I am about to suddenly look like I've got a really bad patchy tan because I've got the primer on my lids. This just gives a hint of colour to the skin and it does the same thing as a primer, keeps your foundation in place all day. And yes, I did change my top, it was annoying me, and I've done my brows, which I'll link my brow tutorial below. Now I'm using MAC's Brule and a Sigma E40 blending brush to set my primer and to neutralize my eyes even further so that it can have a nice soft base in which to apply all the other eyeshadows afterwards. Now the crease shadow I'm going to be using is MAC's Wedge, and I'm going backwards and forwards in the crease as I always do with a Morphe M330 brush. This is a really soft and easy to use blending brush. I'm going in quite heavily with the shade as I want it to be really smoky and sultry, so I'm slowly building up that transitional shade, going backwards and forwards in the crease and just doing it as dark as obviously you want to have it. Now from the It's Everything eyeshadow quad, I'm using the shade Twinks, which is actually a permanent shade in the MAC range. And I am blending it into the crease with a 228 crease brush by Zoeva. I'm just blending it into the outer V part of the crease because I really want to build up that smokiness. I really want it to look really kind of evening, going out sort of look. Obviously this is called a date night video, but it doesn't have to be for a date night. I just went out to dinner with some friends. So it's up to you how smoky you want it to look. Well, I'm going for full-on smokiness, you know, evening kind of glam sort of look. So just go backwards and forwards in that crease area. Then take that the 330 brush by Morphe and blend out any harsh lines that you may have lurking around. Now I'm using the shade Images of Rapture, and I'm going over that Twinks shade with a Morphe M505 brush. This is again just to deepen it out even more, going backwards and forwards in that same area over the same color to blend the kind of darkish grey into that brown to really smoke it out, but without having to use a black shade. Now I'm using the shade I'd Give My All, you know, I'd give my all to him. No, I'm not going to try it. Yeah, I'm not very good at singing. I'm going all over the lid with a Sigma Large Shader E60 brush, applying it to the blank areas and right up to the outer V shades that are already there, just covering it up with this grey shade. It's a very kind of satiny grey. Next I'm using the shade White Frost and I'm applying it with a 227 fluff brush to the brow bone area. It's a very stark white, which is why I'm going to go back in with a bit more of that wedge to blend out the harsh lines that you're now going to see there, because that white is very, very stark, so you need to make sure that you blend it out nicely. And just to bring a little bit back more of that shade Wedge into the equation again. And next I'm going to be using from the quad the shade Diamond Butterfly, and I'm wetting my same Sigma shading brush with some MAC Fix Plus to wet the brush and then I am applying it all over that same I'd Give My All shade. Because that shade is quite a dull kind of grey, I really wanted to add a bit of sparkle to it, and this one really lifts that shade and gives it a little bit of oomph, and it still blends in nicely, meaning you can still see the grey underneath but with a little bit of white sparkle across the top. And then just blending out those harsh lines on the edge of those two shades with Images of Rapture. Yet again, this is just because you just need to make sure everything looks tidy and uniform. Next, I'm going to be doing my eyeliner using my NYC liquid eyeliner, which is like the blackest of black liquid eyeliners, and I love to use it. My liquid liner tutorial is listed below if you want to see how I do mine in a little bit more detail. Now the foundation I'm using is my Urban Decay All Nighter foundation. I'm using the shade 6.0 and dotting it all over my face. This is a full coverage foundation and it's awesome to use. And I'm going to start blending it in with a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. And before anyone says anything, yes, I'm aware that it looks very pale for me, but this foundation oxidizes, so about half an hour or so after applying your makeup, it will start to darken automatically. So before anyone says, oh, you look really pale, yeah, I know I look really pale, but as I've explained, it oxidizes. So just blend it all in. This is an amazing foundation to use to go out in the evenings or if you're going to have a really long day out. Next, I'm using my Kat Von D Lock-It Crème concealer to cover my under eye dark circles. I love this concealer. It's really thick, but it doesn't settle within the lines underneath your eyes, so it looks really quite natural still. And then, as always, blend it all in with a damp beauty blender. Now I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit, and I'm using the shade Banana and the one next to it with a Real Techniques contour brush just to set all the concealer that you saw. This is to stop it moving around during the day and just to keep it in place. Next, I'm using her cream contour kit, and I'm using the brush called the Queen by Makeup Addiction Cosmetics, and I am going to start chiseling out my cheekbones as well as defining various areas of my face. The reason I'm using cream contour in this video, which I normally don't do, is because, like I said, I'm going for a full-on glam, full coverage, full everything evening look. So this is what I generally tend to do when I've got the extra time to do it. So I'm going over my nose area to slim it down slightly, as well as my cheekbones, around my forehead, temple, and those sort of areas. The same areas that I would do with a powder brush, but this is a little bit more severe, if that's what you want to call it, because that's what we're going for. And then using the same brush, I'm just going to blend it all out. Not too neatly, it's going to be a little bit messy, but then we do tidy it up afterwards. Now I'm using the most bronzy shade from the contour kit again, and I am basically setting all the areas you saw me place the cream contour with a Sigma angled brush. I'm actually applying a very light amount. You can't tell because my brush is a bit grubby looking, soz. But basically just setting all those areas. Then I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier translucent powder and my damp beauty blender to almost bake those areas. I'm applying a lot more translucent powder than I normally do, which is why I'm using a damp beauty blender, because this will basically tidy up and set all the areas. So what your aim is to do when you're doing this is to basically look like a baby giraffe. Once you look like a baby giraffe like I do now, then just use that same contour brush by Real Techniques to brush it all off so that you're left with some nice, clean looking, sharp edges, and your contour looks absolutely fabulous. Then I'm going to be using setting the rest of my foundation with my MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus foundation with my Sigma large fluff brush. Next, I'm going to be setting my eyebrows and tidying them up with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel in the shade Chocolate, which I always do once my eyeshadow is finished. And then I'm going to be applying my mascara of choice. Choose whatever you want before you apply your eyelashes. So these eyelashes are from LA Paige Trends and they're called Rosie, so apply those. And then I am using that same deep slate grey shade called Images of Rapture and applying it to the lower lash line with a Morphe M431 pencil brush, blending it backwards and forwards to really smoke out that lower lash line to give that final full-on glam look that we're going for. Then I'm applying my normal Rimmel Kohl Kajal eyeliner in the shade black, which is my eyeliner pencil, and then I'm going to be using the same white frost shade and applying it to the tear duct with a MAC pencil brush just to brighten up the eyes, because the rest of the eyes are quite dark, so we just want to kind of magnify and open the eyes a little bit more. And then apply mascara to your lower lash line, and then voila, your eyes should now be done and looking gorgeous and glamorous. Go on, flutter them, flutter. Nah, we weren't in the mood for fluttering, were we, misery guts? Next I'm using Yum Yum Yum, which is one of the magic powder blushes from MAC's Sweet Nutcracker Sweet collection, and I'm applying it to my cheekbones with a e.l.f. Complexion brush, which is one of my favorite brushes. And then I'm going to be using my Mimi Extra Mineralized Skin Finish. I really didn't want to use it. As you can see, it was untouched and lovely looking and all gorgeous and pretty. Woe is me. But as it is quite a dark shade to use as a highlighter, I used a blush brush by Royal and Langnickel and just went above my blush, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to use it as almost a shimmering golden base shade to apply my highlighter afterwards. Using the shade Whisper of Guilt by MAC. I am using a Morphe M310 fan brush to go over that area and just to basically make the face look a lot more luminous. It's blending in with that golden shade to create its own kind of lovely warm golden type of shade. Obviously I know I'm applying quite a lot of highlighter. Worry not, people. I will go back in, as you can see right now, and wipe off a load of it so that it doesn't look too full on and in your face. And the lipstick that I'm using, or the lip liner, sorry, is MAC's Stone, which is a very kind of taupey brown sort of shade. Really great all-rounder kind of lip pencil by MAC. It's one of my favorite ones. And then the first lipstick that I'm using from the Mariah Carey collection is called I Get So OCC. And I'm applying that all over the lips, and then on top of that I'm applying the shade All I Want, also from the MAC collection, because this one is obviously going on top of a very, very dark shade. I just wiped it off a couple of times in between just to take the dark shade off so I can get that champagne kind of shade over it and mix the two together to make it a lot more wearable, a little bit more goldeny looking. And then as always I'm tidying up my face using my NYX Banana powder, which is like my ride or die. I love that powder. With my same contour brush, just tidying up everything. And then to set the face I'm using my Urban Decay All Nighter spray, which I absolutely love. Take it all in and breathe. And we are done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial. Bye!